Hello, it's Karen Burniston here with an assembly video for one of our die sets. This is die number 1081, the Circle Tag Book pop-up, and you can check out all of our die designs at karenburniston.com. The previously released Tag Book pop-up is one of our most popular die sets, and I thought it would be nice to have another version. So now comes the new Circle Tag Book pop-up. The new Circle Tag Book is a shorter but taller version of the tag book pop-up, and of course on the interior, instead of having squares and tags, it has circles. And they do have a surprisingly different look for being the same mechanism because of those different shapes on both the tags and the interior pop-up pieces. Another difference is the number of individual dies in each set. The new Circle Tag Book has 13 pieces, whereas the original tag book has 17. The Circle Tag Book is priced a little lower accordingly. Now, just like the previously released tag book, the Circle Tag Book has no theme, so it comes with very generic pieces, and then you can add things to it like any of our charm sets to set the theme. I'll be using the Get Well charms today, and then I'm also going to incorporate some words from our Word Set 9 Love set. So 13 dies in the set, and I'll start by making the tag book with the pop-up. So I'll need the pop-up, the big tag, and the hinge die. The tag is a nice big open die, so you should be able to cut through 2 layers at once as long as your cardstock isn't too thick. You will only need one of the hinges. You can use any die cutting machine that can accommodate a wafer thin die, and today I am using a Sizzix Big Shot. For the hinge piece, it is actually scored in 3 locations. They're very close together. What I like to do is just fold it right in half. That's one of the score lines, the easiest to find because you can just line up the ends. And then I just roll it between my thumbs and fingers to find the other 2. And I definitely find it easier to roll upwards, so I just flipped that around. Now I've found all 3 folds, and it will be the outer 2 that I will use to line up the tags. So coating 1/2 of the hinge with a strong adhesive, I'm using my Lineco Neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle, and we do sell both of those items on our website. A strong tape would also work. And I lined up that tag with that outside fold. Then I'm going to close up the hinge and add my strong adhesive to the other half. And then as I'm adding my other tag, I want to do that in that closed position. That allows me to line up all of the edges of the tags and make sure that they're nice and straight and aligned. And you can always choose whether you want to install the hinge on the inside of the card or on the outside of the card. That's completely up to you. But in any case, there will be just a little gap between the tags where you see hinge. You can use cardstock or a heavier double-sided pattern paper for the pop-ups. I chose a pattern paper out of my stash. It wasn't too thick, and so I was able to cut both pieces at one time just by stacking them up. And that also worked because I chose polka dotted paper, which doesn't have a direction to it, so I can flip one around and they still work. Now, if you chose a pattern paper that has a direction to it, you would need to cut these 2 separately, making sure one is oriented with tab to the right, one is oriented with tab to the left. There is a score line that goes all the way across the piece, right between the circles and then out through the arms. And do pay attention to the location because it's not where that divot is. You'll want to look for the actual score line, and it should be right in line with the one that's between the circles. See, it goes all the way across. So don't let the shapes of the pieces be distracting. Just look for the actual score lines. These next 2 score lines do not fold all the way through the piece, so not through the circle, just around the circle. So you want to find those and give those a pinch as well. Something to notice about those folds is they are their own score lines that were made by the die. They are not at the pivot point of the circle. Okay, and now for this next part, I'm going to tuck that section back behind the circle again. Okay, so I'm going to turn this, and then I'm going to put my thumbs behind the folds in the outer arms because I want those to come forward as I close the circles like a card. So the circles are closing down on each other, but the arms are coming up into the piece. So you're essentially working the pivot points right here. And then that outer piece just collapses down flat. So this is the pop-up right here. And one last fold is the little tab on the side. That should be a mountain fold, so just fold it to the back. And remember, you are in control of YouTube videos. If you need to see that again, just slide that slider back and watch it as many times as you need to. To add this half of the pop-up inside the tag book, then you just add your strong adhesive to all those flat parts out on the end, and then you can use the holes to line up and the edges. It should all just line up perfectly. And one thing about the hole that's in the pop-up piece is it's a little bit larger than the hole that's in the tag itself, and that makes it also easy to line up because you can really just make sure that you have a good centering on that hole. Okay, I'm going to double speed fold the other one, and I'm doing the exact same thing as the first time. So working those folds that are around the circle, tucking it behind. Now I want to reverse the arms while bringing the circles together, which basically works the pivot points of the circle. The last fold is the little tab. So it's just the exact same folding for the other half, same alignment, everything. So just one step left for a working pop-up, which is with the tabs in the middle. However, this is a time where you could choose not to connect your tabs yet, and that way you could still flatten down one half at a time for easy decorating. So that's completely up to you. For today's video, I will go ahead and just move on with the pop-up assembly, but you do always have that option to stop at this point and do some decorating first. Okay, the adhesive goes on the two tabs. They do not connect to each other. They're connecting to the circle on the other side. So you have one tab connecting to the circle on the right, and then you have the other tab connecting to the circle on the left. Okay, now comes all the fun decorating, and I do recommend that you start with the arm pieces. So you need to cut that die twice, but you can cut through 2 layers at once. Now, rather than add the glue to the back of the piece, it's better to add it to the pop-up itself so that you can avoid that little cutout with the adhesive. And it's very easy in the assembly process to have accidentally folded at those pivot points like I was talking about earlier. This is the solution for that, because these pieces are not only decorative, but they're also structural, meaning they really stiffen up those arms so that they just function a little better, and also it takes care of any extra folds that you've accidentally put into the piece during the assembly. And the decorative pieces are sized just a little bit smaller than the pop-up so that you get that little shadow all the way around. The die set includes 2 solid circle dies, so that by stacking up 2 layers under each die, you get 4 decorative circles in one pass. The die set includes 1 scalloped dotty circle die and then 1 ring die. And you can use those independently, or they actually are sized to fit on top of each other perfectly for another look. So you can see that this die has no theme until you choose one. I have chosen Get Well today, so I'm using the Get Well charms. And all of the charm sets have their own assembly videos, so you can go watch those if you need to know how they go together. And I like to build my decorative circles off of the pop-up, and then when I add the finished decoration to the pop-up, I'm just careful to not press down on the pop-up itself, but always just support it with my hand behind the piece. The circle tag book also includes a die to cut 2 decorative strips and a die that will cut a nice big round hole protector. I added just a decorative square of pattern paper to the front of my tag book, and then I'm going to trim that out with those same decorative strips. The first half of my greeting is going to go on the front of the tag book, and that is going to be Hugs and Kisses from Word Set 9 Love. And I'm just adding a little ink to that to style it in the same color as my orange germ on the inside. And the circle tag book also includes a die that will cut 3 stitched rounded banners. And I'm also going to use the XOXO from Word Set 9 so that I can snip it apart and put it on the banners. So then I just finished out the front of my card with the final charm, which was the tissue box from the Get Well charms, added another hole protector and strung the banners across the top. And then the idea with the greeting is that it starts on the front and says Hugs and Kisses, and then you open it and it says, and Get Well Wishes. Now to be able to make that greeting, I had to cut apart the Get Well Soon for Get Well. Then I took the ampersand from Hugs and Kisses And then to make wishes, I used word set to birthday. And then I just finished it out with a little bit of ribbon and twine through the holes. And I decided, since this was a get well card, I probably needed a little bit bigger place to write my personal greeting, so I put that on the back of the card. So one thing about having a big round tag is I had to get real creative with how I designed the arms of this card so that they would be hidden in the finished tag and wouldn't stick out. So what that means is they have a unique shape, but they also have a little balance point, and it's right here. If you find that your card doesn't want to just display beautifully open like this, but instead tends to fall forward, it's probably because you have it open too far and or that you just have a lot of weight on your circles. And in those cases, your card may want to fall forward as you try to display it. If that happens, just put a little bit more bend in the tags and then it will display beautifully. You can also mail the circle tag book in an A2 envelope because it measures 3 1/4 by 5, whereas the original tag book needs that larger A7 envelope. This is the sample that's actually on the packaging of the die set, and for this one I used our garden charms. So you can see that there really is no theme to this die set. It's completely generic. You can make it for anything. Here's one using our baby charms. And I love to end assembly videos by looking at some great ideas by our design team. Lois Bach used the Happy Spring die on the front of her circle tag book and then decorated the inside with the garden charms. Our animal dies also fit perfectly on the circle tag book. Here is a Hello Sweet Friend Love You card by Kelly Booth, and she used the new feathered animals to put owls on her circle tag book. That same feathered animals set includes an ostrich, which Fran Sabad used on this fun congratulatory card. And the beauty of dies is, of course, you always pick all of your colors and patterns and styling. So here's Summer Hills Painter with a circle tag book using the garden charms, followed by another one by Summer Hills Painter, this time using the baby charms. I know that a lot of you are stampers, and the circle tag book is going to be a great choice for showing off your stamps. So here's one by Frances Byrne. For this card, Sandy Diller cut holes out of the centers of the circle so that she could hang the garden charms, plus she added her finished circle tag book into a larger card. You can also use your circle tag book just to make tag-shaped cards that you will then fill with other pop-ups, like our pivot panels, like Kelly Booth did here with the heart pivot panels, or this double spinner card with the garden charms that she made using the spinner square die set. Look for the circle tag book pop-up die set to be available on our website, as well as a lot of your favorite online and retail stores, starting the very end of January 2019. Thanks for watching. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBurniston.com, where you can find out information about purchasing these dies, as well as links to all my other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.